active and defending.
I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on.
You lot just can't get rid of me, can ya? People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, appreciative to all of you lot locked in. I appreciate all your support in whatever videos or whatever subgenre videos I put on my channel. Again, people, as usual, you know, in the same way, if you walked into a house, you take off your shoes and say good morning, please, or good evening, or whatever. Please make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're commenting your opinions. That's one of the most crucial, people. These things tip the YouTube algorithm and help grow our platform, people. We've hit over 50,000. We're not stopping till we get 100 and more. And even then, we're not stopping. We're here for life until, you know, the channel is no more or something. So yeah, one love to you lot. Big up everybody tuned in. Again, you know, we're in action tomorrow. So this video will come out on Wednesday. Tomorrow would obviously be Thursday. It's Arsenal against Lyon. I think UK time, it's scheduled to kick off at 3:30. I'll be live at 2:30, an hour before kickoff, to watch that with you. I can't lie. I heard you can use your Arsenal reward points, so I might use it for it. But I love Arsenal. Not enough to pay $5.99, $9.99 for these mid-season games. You know, I would do it for you lot, but the last time I did it, or was attempting to do it, you lot got onto me and told me not to do it. So let's see what's going on in the transfer news. On the topic of the transfer news, people, make sure you're checking out my YouTube playlist where there's a bunch of videos for you to get your DG fix. Enough rambling, enough waffling. I hope you're well and safe. I hope you're all in good spirits. I hope you're all fit and healthy and having a progressive week. Let's kick off with what the news reports have to say. Or actually, we should start from the top, but we'll start this way. Bilbao confident of keeping Arsenal and Chelsea target Nico Williams, who was in the Spain squad and part of a, you know, a surprise Moroccan defeat. Shout all the Moroccan ones in as well. We've been linked with him before. He's 20 years of age. He plays out wide. We're going to get linked with a lot of wingers, and rightly so. Arsenal should be scouting and monitoring things, you know. Again, if whatever industry you lot work in, those of you that truly care about your industry, you know, if you work in media or you work in, like, you work for Twitter, you're going to just type in on Google and see what's going on in social media, and football isn't any different. You know, you never want to miss out on the next star. You want to make sure you're updated on stars or players that could help your team. So a lot of scouting is just scouting for scouting's sake and having targets depending on what happens. And for someone who's 20, probably monitoring how they go on before, you know, if they have a breakout season or whatever. But Nico Williams is attracting interest from top clubs in Europe following his rise in the game. 20 years of age. He's played over 40 games across all comps for Bilbao. Obviously, as I say, it said he was in the Spain squad. Apparently, people, English giants, Arsenal and Chelsea are tracking the winger and could make a move for the player in January. However, the club will not let the forward leave as negotiations open for a contract extension. We are more than calm and busy with Nico and those with shorter contracts, said their sporting director. Inaki and the Williams family are rooted in Bilbao and have a great feeling of belonging to Athletic. Together, we are going to be able to ensure that Nico spends many years at the club. His current deal ends in 2024. So if they don't, Arsenal, Chelsea, or whoever might be able to get him in the summer on the cheap. We don't know if we'll get it done in January or anyone else, but money talks, everything else walks in it. Keeping up the theme with wingers. And again, Mudryk, at this point, if you don't sign for Arsenal, I promise you, I'm slandering you on my channel for the rest of my life, because again, this is like MV. You should, at this point, if you're not in Dubai training with Arteta, there's an issue there, innit? Because I'm speaking about you way more than I should, innit? Arsenal reportedly have a deal in place to sign their main transfer target, Mudryk. We've heard this before. It's getting long. According to reports, Arsenal have a deal in place to sign Mudryk. The report also claims the Gunners are close to a full agreement with Shakhtar Donetsk and the player. Hence, it looks like Mudryk might finally get his dream move. The report also claims that the Premier League giants have agreed between 40 to 50 million for the winger, although to respect the deal, both teams are keeping it a secret, really. However, they will announce it after a full agreement between all sides and bring him to the carpet, man. He's made it clear he wants to leave. I'm not too sure he will only go to Arsenal, because if Arsenal don't bid and other people do, he's made it clear he wants to elevate beyond the Ukrainian league and improve as a player and improve as a result of being with higher quality opposition, higher quality teammates, and in a more competitive league with respect to Shakhtar Donetsk and all of these things. And I mean, he's done an interview with Miss Zinchenko, wife of Zinchenko. So again, you know, we've got Wags doing half the job for us. We've got Zinchenko probably talking to his countrymen. We've got Mudryk talking on any platform that gives him a chance to speak, people. So it is well, it is there really and truly. There's nothing more to say. Check out the playlist for any more extended comments on Mudryk. He's even liking things on social media, so he's doing all he can. The 21-year-old. Apparently, we're looking at bringing Yunus Musah back to the Emirates, and I would love that. Liverpool have joined Chelsea and Arsenal, and all clubs need central midfielders or midfielders, in my opinion, maybe different profiles. He did his reputation no harm, playing quite well for America in the World Cup. I think the only game he was kind of quiet was their last one against Holland. But for a 20-year-old, he's shown it is what it is. Bring him home. He should have never left. And I know Arsenal have been criticised for letting talents leave. Like Musiala, he saw an opportunity to advance quicker than if he stayed at Arsenal potentially. Valencia gave him a project, playing in their B team, playing against stronger opponents and men's side. He did that. He hasn't looked back. It is what it is. We've lost these players before. We'll lose them again. That is something Premier League clubs are going to have to deal with. And it, if he's during, offers from the Liverpools, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, and I very much doubt just 3 clubs are on to the 20-year-old. It is what it is, people. So, yeah, apparently they want to give him a new deal as well. He's made 11 appearances so far this season, and he started every game in the group for America. So we'll have to see how it goes, or the USMT. Smash the like button if you haven't. Milinkovic-Savic, man. This is one that I know we're not going to get him, but I'd like it, man. Milinkovic-Savic transfer stance as Arsenal tip to go all in on January move. I'd love that to be the case, but you'd imagine Lazio hold on to him until the summer, where he'll have a year left on his deal and they'll sell him. There's even talks they will try to get him back. I'm very pessimistic on anything that links our players to moves to Italy or players that are linked to us playing in Italy. You can forgive me, but Locatelli, Zenolio, Milinkovic-Savic, Vlahovic, the whole Torreira fiasco. It is what it is. According to this Italian report, people, Arsenal are ready to test Lazio's resolve over Milinkovic-Savic. The 27-year-old impressed for Serbia at the World Cup. He done all right, but I wouldn't say impressed, Musiala, Pedri, Bellingham, them young G's have done more than him in midfield. Kudus as well. I wouldn't say he'd impress. I think Serbia flattered to deceive. We know he's a good player. My opinion, he ends up at Juventus, but you never know what's going on there. It's believed Milinkovic-Savic is reluctant to leave Italy, but he would consider an approach from Arsenal if they were to come forward with a concrete proposal once the transfer window reopens next month. Juventus are also thought to be interested in acquiring the services of him, but they could struggle to compete with Arsenal, who are flying high in the Premier League and on track to end their multi-year Champions League exile. Let's hope so. But as we saw with the wiretaps coming out with Juventus, it's confirmed we offered more money to Sassuolo for Locatelli, and the ex-director who's at Spurs wanted mate rates. So that happens in business. That might happen again. We could just be taken around the houses to get a better deal from Lazio, from Juventus, etc. So the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately, but it'd be a lit signing for what it's worth, people. This reiterates it as well, people, of our interest in Milinkovic-Savic. Apparently, Arsenal, however, would be pressing on the player and he would be willing to try the all-in in January to anticipate joining Juventus. Milinkovic-Savic, who has always been reluctant to leave Italy, could, however, consider a possible move from the Gunners, who seem to be at the back at the top in the Premier League. Not too sure of that, but if you believe that, it is what it is. We covered this earlier, people. The Lazio chairman, who's never been shy in his admiration for his midfielder. Contracts are done when they expire. From a technical point of view, we have an interest in renewing him because he's a great player and a great man. I hope the player will do the same. Appointment on the agenda. What we are doing in the transfer market in life, everything that begins has an end, starting with life itself. That's true. Very philosophical. And in relation to the player, we've had a good time, but he probably will leave. Milinkovic-Savic is a player Lazio are banking on. He is an added value. So, there's also rumors they want him as a sign of respect for Lazio to sign a new deal, gentleman's agreement that he'll move on just so they can negotiate more money. Gentleman's agreement doesn't mean nothing in the business world, especially when a lot of them don't have morals. So if it's not legally binding and I's haven't been dotted and T's haven't been crossed, you can forget about that, innit? But bring him. Bring him. I think I speak for everybody in that regards, people. What else have we got? We've done that. That's nothing. French clubs eye Wilfried Zaha on a free transfer. I mean, he can play up front as well as out wide. He could be a good stopgap signing. I very much doubt Arsenal are going to sign a striker that can cover for 2 months. Obviously, if he doesn't tie in long term, I mean, I would like Zaha. We could do a lot worse, but it is what it is. Marseille are ready to offer him a move to the south of France when his contract expires in 2023. I mean, they play Champions League football. It's a big club, and being from the Ivory Coast, he obviously speaks French, but you might as well just stay at Selhurst Park, really. Allegedly, talks between his club, Crystal Palace, and Zaha over a new deal haven't progressed. And at 30 years of age, it looks set to probably keep it moving, people, really and truly. Apparently, Arsenal have a long-standing interest, but at 30, it's unknown if Zaha is seen as the right fit by the Gunners, Chiefs, Edu, and Mikel Arteta. Probably not in terms of wages, but Partey, Elneny, Xhaka, at least 2 of those 3 names, you can make a case are going to be here for a couple of years. So why not Zaha? And he could be as good stopgap signing as the other young players develop and things like that. The Eddies, the Martinellis, the Sakas, the Smith Rowes, etc. But I don't think we get him. I feel like the boat's gone. I definitely don't think you get him in January, you know, but it is what it is. You never know in this life, people. World-class player is now more likely to join Aston Villa than Arsenal. Aston Villa are now leading the hotly contested race to sign João Felix. You're going to be an attacking player under Unai Emery? Fair enough, my guy. But yeah. And again, check out my other my other transfer window videos, people, because we've seen this already. But apparently the CEO said signing him was the biggest bet the club has made in its history. I think he's a top world-class player, but because of the relationship with his coach, his playing time, his motivation, it'd be reasonable to analyze an option for him to depart if one arrives. It's reasonable to think he might leave, although I'd love him to stay, but that's not the player's plan. Very specific from the CEO, you know, kind of correlates with allegedly he's instructed George Mendes to find him a new club, people. So I'm all for that if we could make it happen, really and truly. And I do think you've got certain comments on that. And Felix wants to leave Atletico and there is no turning back. Arsenal and Mikel Arteta are among the clubs to have asked about Felix, while Atletico has already set a starting price of 140 million. The player wants to join the best project. Is that really Aston Villa? I don't know. Apparently, Maeto Morato on Twitch says PSG are currently in front for Felix. United can pay the money, but unlikely due to Mendes' bad relationship as part of the Ronaldo saga. I mean, I hear that, but surely what Ronaldo's business is different from João Felix, really. Kaya Jarupkin and Mendes key and mentions good relationship of Arsenal to both. We could have a good relationship. Doesn't mean João Felix. Do we have, without top 4 being set in stone, do we have 140 million to commit? As much as I think João Felix is great and that, I don't know, people. You'd have to draw your own conclusions within that regards, people. So it is what it is regarding that. We've already spoken on that. What is this? Arsenal to go all in for midfielder who would consider moving January. Further confirmation in this article of our alleged intention to try and sign Milinkovic-Savic in January. Whether you believe that is down to you. Enough Milinkovic-Savic stuff. We've been linked with Rabiot, whose contract is running down and he has 6 months left on it, people. We are carefully watching the developments around Juventus. You know, apparently taking the 27-year-old's performances into account, the report states his price tag could be between 15 and 20 million euros. And obviously at 27, he's going to want a decent contract in terms of length and also in terms of, you know, the money and bonuses and all of these things. Not to deal with, you're going to have to deal with his mum, people. This is said that Allegri could ask for Lokonga. I mean, Lokonga's drawn interest based on reports from AC Milan, Napoli, Juventus. It could be all right for him, really, you know, as you might actually get in the Belgian team, you know. Hazard's retired from Belgium international duty. There's rumours Vermaelen and Henry might be the next managers in that regards. Henry as gaffer, Vermaelen as assistant. Roberto Martinez, apparently there's talk he could become the Spain gaffer. That's a Mazzolini. But yeah, people, I don't see Arsenal paying 15 to 20 million for him with 6 months left on his contract, because they're not looking like they're going to do that for Telemans, who's a couple of years younger, and we've shown a lot more desire to sign him. Even in we've heard the last 2 January windows, his agent has been at London Coley. So it all depends what you draw with that, people. Arsenal and Tottenham told Stars price reduced to between 21.5 and 26 million. We've been linked with Hanka P of Ecuador once again, people. He could be worth 21.5 to 26 million. Centre half, 20 years of age. We need a centre half. One love to Rob Holding. But, you know, anything happens to Ben White, who's playing right back at the moment, Gabriel Saliba, I would personally want Tomiyasu thrown in there. If it's not that, respectfully to Holding, definitely in the back four, there's quite the drop-off, really. So really Holding should be almost the 5th choice as spare body, if I'm completely honest. He's drawn interest from Arsenal and Spurs. He's also got interest from Napoli, Roma, Inter, and obviously AC Milan. So we'll have to see. His agents previously spoken on it as well. So yeah, he fits in with what we're doing at 20 years of age, 34 caps for his country at the start of his career. He can actually play left back as well, technically left-sided as well, which is an added bonus. Maybe the dynamics have shifted from what's happened with Jesus. Maybe we get another striker or something. Clearly, we want a winger. Clearly, we want a centre mid, you know. And in the summer, we wanted a centre half. We failed to bring in Lisandro Martinez, Danilo / Telemans or whoever, and obviously Rafinha or Pedro Neto. So these are areas to assess people among everything else. Maybe even right back if Cedric's allowed to leave, but we've heard Arteta is saying no to that until we can bring people in. And January is a very tacky time, and we've got a lot to do in that regard. So we'll have to see how that one day develops, people. Apparently, Marcelo Flores could end his loan spell at Real Oviedo early and return to Mexico to play for Club Leon. Would like the 19-year-old to stay in Europe, but fair enough, you know, wants to play for Mexico at international level. Go and put yourself in the forefront of the Mexican media and things, and obviously go get some games, really. Still young, but it's never just like that, really. So hopefully he keeps developing, and he's probably learned good or bad or indifferent loan spell. You've learned a lot more than you would have if you were stuck in the under-21s, really, where you're faster, stronger, scoring goals, and that goes for everyone. In life, you need to be outside of your comfort zone. Are you a skilled swimmer if you can stand up in the kiddies part of the pool and swim around, or do you see your true test when you've been thrown into a stronger current where it's literally sink or swim, ironically? I don't know, people. Big up Gabriel Jesus. You know, he's showing himself walking on crutches. Hopefully his knee, rest up the knee. Hopefully you're back in action sooner rather than later. But we're going to have to do without him. Arsenal consider recalling on loan youngster in January. And I assume this is about Balogun. That has to be an option, but you might disrupt his progress, because if Jesus is back, Balogun is behind Eddie Nketiah and Jesus. Now, he's our player. We can do what we want, but you're disrupting his progress. You're disrupting his development. Minutes are currency. Obviously, if it needs to happen, it needs to happen. But I would like us to keep the 21-year-old over there at Reims. You never know. He might come back and do a madness. Let him stay there, though, man. It's working all right for him. He's got 8 goals in 15 appearances. He's joint 5th in Liga's scoring. He's feeling important. For me, we all know for these young players, and Saka's been through it. Smith Rowe's been through it. Eddie's been through it. A lot of other players as well. You're the best thing in the world when you've had one good game. The next game, you might be shaky and everybody's onto you. And the biggest thing young players have to install in their game is consistency. And he's trying to do that at 21. He's built on the experiences at Middlesbrough and doing better at Reims. And even if he scores 20 league goals in France, he's not going to come back and be this world-class player. It don't happen overnight. What we need him to do is become a bit more competent in his role, confident in his abilities, and as I just alluded to, consistent. And then let's see, he's 21. When the strikers peak, it is what it is, people. But yeah, that's obviously in relation to Jesus' injury. So we'll have to see what's going on specifically in that regards, people. At the moment, Eddie Nketiah is the only viable option. You could go with a false 9. You could promote someone from the youth side, whether they're good enough or not. Martinelli could move over there, even though he's doing quite well on the left-hand side. And he seems a natural fit for that. But we are kind of down to our bare bones. Arsenal ready to shift January transfer plans after Mikel Arteta Kroenke meeting. I think we've heard this before, people. So I'm not going to bore you lot with that. I mean, it's not said anything specific there, does it, people? Well, it's thought that Arsenal will have around 50 million to spend in Jan. I know just because you got 50 million doesn't mean 50 on transfers, but is that enough to bring in Mudryk and all these names? I don't know. I hope so. The right players, I guess. And we have heard there's other names. There's other names on it, people. Apparently, the 21-year-old would set the North Londoners back around 21 million. So that might put a few extra pounds in our pocket to go elsewhere and do other things, people. Arsenal could be forced into the transfer market amid fears Jesus will be out for 3 months. I mean, whether it was this season or next, or Jesus never got injured, we were gonna come to a point where we do need to assess bringing in another striker, either to help Jesus or just improve this team. Because and to go with Eddie Nketiah, obviously, hopefully he develops. It's not sustainable, is it, people? Prior to moves for Jesus last summer, as you can see here, Arsenal scouted several forwards, including Jonathan David and João Felix of Atletico. A possible solution could be to sign a player who can play both out wide and through the middle, which Felix could do, with David and Felix ticking both them boxes. I mean, we've been following Jonathan David since his days in Belgium. Probably is better than Eddie Nketiah at this moment. Kind of gone off the ball a bit. Didn't really do too much on the international scene, but could do a lot worse. Arsenal showed in the summer they are ready to act if injuries hit their squad. I mean, we didn't bring in a midfielder. We failed to bring in Douglas Luiz, but we did show intention. Maybe let's try to be a little less reactive, people. So without that, we've talked about Milinkovic-Savic, Mudryk, João Felix, somewhat Jonathan David, Wilfred Zaha, and the rest of them people. So with that, that seems to be the only transfer news. Most importantly, people, thank you very much for supporting my content. I really appreciate all your support. I'm really appreciative of it. Please do me a favor and comment your opinions. Stay safe. Make sure you're hitting the like button, you're subscribing and turning on your notifications. Check out the YouTube playlist. Make sure you're following on Twitch. Again, this will come out on Wednesday at some point. So by the time you catch this, at 2:30 Thursday UK time, we're going to begin our watch along for Arsenal against Lyon. You lot stay safe, stay blessed, stay in good health. Hope you have a progressive week. But for now, people, I'm out.
Active and defending.
I've been given like